brain has been waiting for.
News, politics, and issues. Enhanced.
You have just joined the wilkow majority.
The next generation of great talk radio, the undisputed leader of the new school, Andrew Wilkow, Sirius Patriot 144. Phone line is always 1-866-95-PATRIOT. The email, just spell my name right, WILKOW. It's Sirius-radio.com. Individual Patriot first, Conservative second, Republican third, and working every single day to make this the most popular program offered by Sirius Satellite Radio, because it's based on one thing and one thing only, and that is rational thought. So welcome to the Wilkow Majority. I'm Andrew Wilkow. Now, we're into the second hour of the program. First hour we dedicated to this audio of Barack Obama and his views on the Constitution. And some of it was actually quite frightening. And you're not going to get any Obama supporters at this point. We're 8 days out from the election. If you could point to Barack Obama in his own words saying that he thinks the fundamental flaw with this country is the limits of power on government codified in the U.S. Constitution, if you play that for these people and that nothing's going to change their minds. Joining us on the program right now is an outspoken champion of the U.S. Constitution, Congressman Ron Paul. Hello, sir.
Hello, nice to be with you.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I play you some audio of Barack Obama in his own words? I really don't want to do a coulda, woulda, shoulda on the Republican primaries, and I'm not going to ask you to endorse John McCain, but you speak very passionately about the U.S. Constitution, its role in our lives, its role in individual freedom and liberty, and I don't know who you're voting for, and I'm not even going to ask, but I would like your take on this clip of audio from Barack Obama to public radio in 2001, if I could play it for you.
Yes, fine. I'll be glad to listen.
Give me the cut number 7, Obama and the Warren Court.
Good morning and welcome to Odyssey on WBEZ Chicago 91.5 FM. And we're joined by Barack Obama, who is Illinois State Senator from the 13th District and a senior lecturer in the law school at the University of Chicago.
You know, if you look at the victories and failures of the civil rights movement and its litigation strategy in the court, I think where it succeeded was to vest formal rights in previously dispossessed peoples, so that I would now have the right to vote. I would now be able to sit at a lunch counter and order, and as long as I could pay for it, I'd be okay. But the Supreme Court never ventured into the issues of redistribution of wealth and sort of more basic issues of political and economic justice in the society. And to that extent, as radical as I think people tried to characterize the Warren Court, it wasn't that radical. It didn't break free from the essential constraints that were placed by the Founding Fathers in the Constitution, at least as it's been interpreted, and Warren Court interpreted it in the same way, that generally the Constitution is a charter of negative liberties, says what the states can't do to you, says what the federal government can't do to you, but it doesn't say what the federal government or the state government must do on your behalf. And that hasn't shifted, and one of the, I think, the tragedies of the civil rights movement was because the civil rights movement became so court-focused, I think that there was a tendency to lose track of the political and community organizing and activities on the ground that are able to put together the actual coalitions of power through which you bring about redistributive change. And in some ways, we still suffer from that.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to Congressman Ron Paul on this now surfacing audio of Barack Obama back in 2005. Sir, you heard him say it. The court wasn't radical enough. It didn't get into redistributive justice. It negative liberty. I don't know what a negative liberty is. Maybe you can identify that. And his problem with the Constitution is it doesn't give enough weight to what the government can do for you on your own behalf without your consent. Sir, this must be
Yes, he's looking for a constitution that demands that government do for us what they shouldn't be doing. A government should not be doing things in a way that is a negative liberty. The government stays out of our bedroom. Yeah, that is your right to your privacy. So in that way, it's negative. What he wants is positive liberty. He wants a list of things the government can do. The government can redistribute wealth. The government can provide free medical care and free health care and on and on. So he is looking for a socialist doctrine rather than a doctrine that limits government power. He, I'm sure, would not be a fan of Article 1, Section 8, which explicitly gives a limited number of powers and authority to the government and nothing more. So his goal would be to have a government that would be much more in charge of the economy, more in charge of our lives, and, of course, justify all the things that we do around the world.
Do you think there are, to some extent, a lot of conservatives within the Republican Party and libertarians who may vote Republican because sometimes they feel like it's their only choice? Do you feel like that Republicans who have lost their way deserve to lose this election to some extent, that they could have made a better case against us, they could have been unified, whether or not you ended up with the nomination, they could have listened to Ron Paul more on the Constitution, and when someone runs on the Constitution, they generally are popular. Do you think that Republicans kind of deserve to be where they are right now?
Yeah, they do, but what is also sad is that the Democrats don't deserve to pick up the pieces, which is the real tragedy, because the people who do believe in freedom and self-reliance, responsibility, and limited government, they're the ones who lose out. So it is really tragic, and then that people use this as a justification. Well, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils because even though the Republicans messed up and they deserve to lose, I don't want to give any more power to the Democrats and to the Obamas of the world, so they get trapped into saying, well, the only thing I can do is hold my nose and, vote for what I think is lesser of the evils. And we've been doing this for decades and decades, and both sides erode our liberties, and we're in the mess we are today. I mean, I think the best demonstration of the lack of choice with these two candidates is that how they both rush back to Washington after having not voted in a year, rushing back to join Wall Street in the bailout. Can you imagine the difference in this race if McCain would have gone back and raised Cain and filibustered against that $850 billion bailout? He'd probably be leading in the polls. But they are so locked in. They're both owned by Wall Street, and the American people suffer the consequences.
Let me ask you, what do you think about Governor Palin? I know that a lot of people have said she's unqualified. As her political point of view, not necessarily her experience or her ability to hold her own in an interview, she seems to come from a perspective that's very similar to yours. Is that right or wrong, do you think?
Half so. I think she'd be good on, personal liberties. I do believe she, understands that. I think she understands economics as opposed to the taxes, and she's trying to overcome the problem that McCain has because he didn't vote for lower taxes, and now he says he's for lower taxes. But I think she's credible on that. But for her to get to that position, she would have had to endorse the massive expenditures that we make overseas, the intervention that we have, the problems we have in Iraq and Afghanistan, now in Syria and Pakistan, pumping in more money when we're flat out broke into Georgia, these kind of things. She has to support that and has spoken out very clearly on that, and that is a major factor on why our country's in bankruptcy. So to a large degree, or to a significant degree, I would say I agree with you, but especially not on foreign policy.
So domestically, you like her. Foreign policy, you think she basically had to say what she's saying now to make the ticket and the handlers happy.
Right, and it's tough for conservatives to reconsider foreign policy. Although in the past we have. Just think of how George Bush was highly critical of Clinton.